Gamer, stop what you're doing right now. Do not pull for Fugue. You might be, just like her name implies, in a fugue state on the side of a road, naked, trying to get into a gas station, just like Walter White from Breaking Bad. You are not that down bad, trust me. But there are reasons why you might want to pull, and honestly, guys, this might contradict everything I just said. She might be a must-pull for your account. Like, you might need to pull her for your account. So we'll be going over all of that in today's video, all of her pros, cons, why you should, why you shouldn't summon, everything like that. You're going to be wanting to use her in as many teams as possible, and right here on this chart, I kind of have listed what I think to be her best, great, good, and works options. If we go over her best units right now, guys, obviously Boot Hill, Rappa are going to be her best in slot options, also along with Jiao Cho, Ling Sha, and Harmony Trailblazer. Now, I think we get the point of why Boot Hill's up here, Rappa's up here, Ling Sha's up here, and why Harmony Trailblazer's up here, right? They all provide super break, some of them play off of instance-based breaking, and they just benefit greatly from having that extra toughness bar you can break on the enemy, especially someone like Boot Hill. That means you can get his stacks up quicker, so he's dealing extra damage. Also, someone like Ruan Mei, increased weakness break efficiency, increased break effect for the full team, and then also res pin as well. Jiao Cho provides you with one big thing, and that's putting vulnerability on the enemy, which is also going to affect your break effect. Also, Gallagher is here as well because he just helps with break, and then obviously Ling Sha helps with break. Now, let's hop into the great category, or the characters that work really, really good with her, but it's not like the best in slot, right? I have Himiko, Herta, Robin, Jue, Luca Babuka, and Firefly. Now, if you notice, Firefly is not in the best in slot. The reason why I don't have her in the best in slot, guys, because she already kind of does a lot of the things that you would kind of want her to do outside of having her. Like, she has great multipliers already on her own. She can apply weakness on her own already. So it doesn't make her as good because you can't really take use of the full kit from Firefly with her. She also doesn't have anything like instance based in her kit. So you really can't take any use of that with Firefly's kit. Not to say that she still doesn't work. I still think she's a great option to use with Fugue. I just think the other options listed before are better. Luca Babuka, Breaking Fiend, bro. First of all, number one Luca shill here. Secondly, guys, the really big thing with Luca, right, is breaking the enemy with Luca calls for you to actually put bleed on the enemy. And what's really big about putting bleed on the enemy is actually something to do with his E6, guys. After using his enhanced basic attack, you'll basically have a chance to reproc the bleed damage on the enemy. And with having Fugue, which is increasing your break effect, having Ruan Mei, which is increasing your break effect, and then having Fugue and Ruan Mei to help increase his super break damage, not only are you going to be reprocking huge bleed procs on the enemy, you're also going to be reprocking super break damage on the enemy as well, because how does super break damage work? One of the factors in super break is the amount of times you're hitting the enemy, and his enhanced base attack hits the enemy as a lot of times. He goes boom, 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 boom. He gives 5 big booms, just like Big Justice, right? So I think Luca works there really well. I've actually used Luca in many super break teams before, and I am a number 1 Luca shield to the day I die. I will be pulling for the 5-star Luca when he comes out. Obviously, Himiko here has instance-based breaking. The big thing with Himiko, guys, is that the more instances you break, the more follow-up you can do, the more follow-up she can do, the more breaking she can do overall, which means the more damage she can do. Also, she hits every single enemy in the field, which will then trigger more super break across every single enemy in the field. Pairing that up with her skill as well means that fire weakness with all the breaking she's doing already absolutely slays every single enemy on the field. And you can honestly run Himiko in a dual DPS team with someone like Arappa as well with Fugue. Make sure you get fire debuff on the enemy. Amazing day. You're going to have an absolutely grand day with that, okay? The reason I have Herta up here, guys, in this tier as well is because usually Herta and Himiko can work pretty hand in hand, especially in Pure Fiction. Because if we take a look at something like this current Pure Fiction that we have right now, which has basically all fire weak enemies, you could technically run Himiko in the team here with Herta, and then you apply the Fugue buff to Herta, right? So we already know Himiko is going to be hitting every single enemy anyways, right? So when you have the extra break, you're getting extra follow-ups, which brings the enemy's HP down overall when you're breaking the enemy's shield, right? This means Herta will come in, she'll be hitting every single enemy for all their toughness as well, so this means her skill attack and ultimate move, which is all AoE, will be hitting all those enemies as well, bringing their toughness down, and then she hits the fat ass kudu kudu, and then fucking spins to win on all the enemy. We all know spin to win is the greatest thing ever in gacha games. She is going to be hitting all these enemies for additional super break damage on top of that, and just eviscerating the whole enemy field, and you can run all these characters on break builds as well. So not only is it great because she is great with super break, you can also run her on multiple builds, because if you didn't want to run her on a break build, you can honestly swap her over to a crit build as well, and the amount of times that she's hitting, it can still work fairly well in a break-centric team. Obviously, Robin's going to be here for the attack that she gives. Attack helps super break, so that's going to be really good there, and also action and advance forward. And then finally, Jue. Jue is really good with breaking as well, especially when you're facing quantum weak enemies or non-quantum weak enemies. Fugue can help by putting the skill on her, giving her the ability to hit non-quantum weak enemies, We already know her ult and her follow-up attack will hit non-content weak enemies already. So this will kind of fill her kit out more to make her hit more enemies and break more enemies down as well. Now let's move on to the good tier next, guys. Acheron's going to be in this tier. We have Pela in this tier. Bronya. And I think that's it. I could be missing someone. We'll get to them if I missed them or something like that. But the reason why I have these in this tier, guys, is because I do think the characters we mentioned before are better than Acheron teams. But she can definitely work on an Acheron team. Obviously, guys, she is in Hildy. So you put this, and then you also throw this on the same team together, guys. You already have your full Acheron buff up, especially if you have something like an E0, S0 Acheron. You can use Tingyun's buff here to buff her up. This will give her 1 debuff as well, guys. So this means her skill will be even an additional debuff now, which means she gets 2 stacks every single time you're using her skill, bypassing every single weakness type on top of that with the skill. And then obviously she can get some super break damage off this as well, but you're really just supercharging her ult. Then you're going to get the defense down as well from that, and then you'll get the defense down from this too. So overall, you're getting a lot of defense down too to help her damage out. So that's why I say it's pretty good. The reason why I have Huahua and Bronya up here, you can help supercharge energy with a Huahua and then also give attack buff as well. Same thing kind of applies to Bronya. Bronya gives attack on ult, and then also she is going to be giving advance for it as well. So you could run her in a team with like Boot Hill or something like that with Fugue, and then that also can work pretty well. Now I want to get into our final tier here, which is the red, which is the works. Like Adventuring can work on a team. Gwenifin can work. Hanya can work, gives speed buff, it gives attack buff, so that can work there. Misa, honestly, I feel like Misa is really underrated, and I feel like he'll work really good on Super Break teams. I'm going to give him a chance though, guys, if I can get Fugue on my account. March 7th, she does have some Super Break capability as well. Break Shushong can work here because she has multiple actions, so multiple actions leads to multiple breaks, which leads to multiple Super Breaks. And finally, the King Sampo himself. Now, Sampo can already kind of work on Break S teams. You gotta think, guys, his skill move is hitting multiple times, so if you're building him completely Break, you can actually get some pretty decent damage out with him, but I wouldn't say it's anything over anything else we put on this list up here, guys, so he just kind of works. So with that little yap session out of the way of team flexibility, there is one major thing here. Most of these characters you're running are going to be some type of break orientation, right? Which leads us to our number 1 con right now, guys, the problem with Break. Guys, Break has one major flaw, right? As the great Master Fugue says, if no break, no damage. Yes, guys, if you cannot break the enemies, her kit is bar none just about fucking useless, okay, guys? We have seen what the majority of her kit relies on, right? Like, her skill gives you increased break effect, it gives you weakness bypass when you're attacking enemies that aren't the same weakness type that they are. Her ult gives you an extra toughness bar, and then also converts you to super break damage. Her things here give you extra break effect. The only thing you're getting out of this kit that is not break oriented is defense down, and it's only 18%, so not really that good of a buff. So if you take the break out of the equation, if you cannot break enemies, surely in a future patch in 3.1 or maybe 2, they wouldn't release a character that maybe can't be weakness broken at all, which would force you to not be able to use this team. And maybe if they release more characters that have a harder time with being broken or multiple shear bars, this could be an issue. Surely they wouldn't do that, right? So guys, the main thing here, guys, is the more enemies we get that are aka harder to break or you can't break, it's out the window, bro. It's up for her. You cannot use her there at all. Now, do I think we're ever going to run a scenario where we have 2 enemies at MOC that can't be broken? I think there's a slim chance that happens. I'm not going to throw anything out the window because when this game first started, everyone told me in the comment section when I was talking about Dot and how you should prepare for Dot and why these characters are asked for defending against Dot, they told me there is no way Dot can do this much. There's no way that Dot can do like 3k and almost one-shot you. And look what you got. You got Dot that almost killed you with 1 shot. So I don't want to hear the argument that they are never going to release enemies or an MOC that can't do this, right? Now, I think these chance to have this every single MOC is pretty slim to none, but this is very problematic with Break, right? I think there will come a point in time where you can't break the enemy, or maybe you have side 1, you can't break an enemy. And then side 2 is going to be something like maybe the Symphony boss we have with multiple toughness bars that you have to get down all that bar first before you can actually start doing real damage to the enemy. I think that could be very problematic as well. So that is like the real problem with Break, guys. If you cannot break, or if Break is really hard, she has no break efficiency in her kit to really enhance the amount of breaking that you're doing on the enemy or bringing that toughness bar. And then on top of that, if you come to an enemy that literally cannot be broken, she's just shit out of luck, and you kind of have a useless character on your account as well as with all of your other break characters for that particular boss or enemy or MOC or whatever in-game mode it is. So that is one con that I need to point out with her, because I feel like people cope so goddamn much with this and say, they're never gonna do that! You're out of your fucking mind if you don't think they're gonna do that, okay? So they are gonna do this. probably in the future, so you need to prepare for a circumstance that happens like this. Don't throw all of your eggs in one basket. That's my main point I want to make with this, guys. Build outside of break. If you decide to pull for her, build outside of break. If your whole account is break right now, maybe I would skip her and pull for something else. Don't fully rely on break. If your break team is working right now, it'll work just about as fine in the future. And if you ever run into a situation where you can't break, this bitch doesn't work anyway. So that's my main point with this. Now, guys, let me get into my final pro con here. She is going to be a must pull. I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, guys. I think that she could be one of these characters that are absolute must pull for your account. Depending on your account, obviously. Number one, guys, what is the main thing that she has? Intro with me. Super break damage, guys. Yes, she does super break damage. Now, guys, what other characters in the game give you super break damage? Harmony MC. And if we take a look here, guys, at characters that are coming to the game, right? Or characters that could be potentially coming to the game, right? What are we getting? Oh! Remembrance MC! No! So what does this mean for you, right? So what this should mean for you, right? Now, this is all contingent on Remembrance MC being absolutely cracked out their ass. And I think they are probably going to be cracked out of their ass. You're going to have another free character that's cracked out of their ass. You're playing into this new meta now, which the whole focus for this new arc is probably going to be Remembrance, right? So you're probably going to be pulling for new Remembrance characters, utilizing Remembrance MC. Now, what happens when you go into MOC or other in-game game modes, and the rest of your account is break, and then you have Remembrance as well, because these are the two metas that's now playing into. You kind of have to have her on your account to make your break teams function, unless you have Boot Hill. If you pull Boot Hill, you're fucking... Hey, you saved yourself, buddy, okay? If you did not pull for Boot Hill, though, and you have any other break character, you're kind of fucked. I'm not gonna lie. Like, sure, Firefly has super break scalings. Sure, Rappa has super break scaling. But their multipliers for it aren't really as high, and you're not gonna really do as much damage if you're not running someone like a Fugue or Harmony MC on the team. Meaning, they kind of fuck you into pulling this character. Now, if they did something miraculous, like, I don't know, or at least another fucking 4-star in the game... they did super break damage or something like that, or gave you super break damage, this wouldn't be an issue. But this is a very big issue, guys. This is actually a massive issue. So if you are a new player coming to the game, guys, and you already built out all of these break characters, and you have nothing else outside of break, right? And you're going to this new summon meta, which is mainly going to be, like, summonable characters, right? Characters that work off of summons. You're probably going to be using Remembrance MC. That's all I'm going to say to that, guys. So, she is kind of like a must-pull in certain situations, right? You could honestly probably skip Sunday, go for Master Fugue here, and then have a better day, maybe, because maybe your new Remembrance MC helps out in some type of way, shape, or form, or support. So, in my opinion, it kind of works out to almost be a must pull. So guys, with all of those takes out of the way, should you pull for Fugue? I think it really depends on your account. If your account is flushed out, if you have a bunch of different damage types in your account, like follow-up, you're already working towards summon meta, you already have a decent or really good break team, I don't think that she's a must pull. I think you could probably skip her. Now, with that being said, like we just mentioned, if you're a newer player playing the game, because that's really all that's been released in the past couple patches, really, unless you pull for Acheron, even if you pull for Acheron, maybe a must pull for your account there. Like, I feel like she teeters this fine line of being must pull and not pull at all. That's just the line she sits on for me, right? Like, how good do I think she's going to be? I think she provides so much support for break. But whenever they start adding enemies in the game that are harder to break, when they start adding enemies in the game that can't be broken, her value is going to plummet out of the fucking sky, okay? I feel like break is going to be nerfed soon. That's just feels crafting for my part there. Overall, guys, it's very hard to say whether you should or should not pull. I think listen to the reasons I just mentioned before, guys, and inform your decisions based off the characters you already have in your account. Anyways, guys, are you pulling for Fugue? How do you feel about Fugue? Do you think she's goated? Do you think she's ass? Let me know in the comment section down below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That was fucking cringe.